Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real quick. Doubt. Oh yeah, doubt is that little voice in your head that shows up uninvited, like your broke cousin at Thanksgiving dinner. Always got something negative to say. You can't do that. You ain't good enough. Who do you think you are? Let me tell you the truth right now. That voice is a lie. It's not your friend, it's not your intuition, it's fear in a cheap disguise. That voice in your head, the one that whispers, you're not good enough, you're not ready, or this will never work, that's doubt. It shows up uninvited, loud enough to shake your confidence but slick enough to sound like reason. Now, here's the thing most people don't realize. You don't have to sit there and just listen to it. You have the power to talk back. That's the mental trick right there. Talk back to your doubt. See, doubt only has power when it's a one-sided conversation. It grows when you stay quiet. The longer you let it talk without answering it, the more believable it becomes. It starts off small, but if you let it go unchecked, it turns into your truth. That's how dreams die, not from lack of talent or opportunity, but from letting doubt take the mic and run the show. Talking back to doubt isn't some magical ritual. It's not about being fake or overly hyped. It's about reminding yourself, out loud if you have to, of what's true. When doubt says, you've failed before, you respond, yeah, but I've also gotten back up before. When it says, you don't have what it takes, you say, I'm still learning, still growing, and I'm not quitting. You don't have to pretend doubt doesn't exist. You just have to refuse to let it be the only voice you hear. Speak your truth. Speak your vision. Speak your resilience, because every time you talk back, you're rewiring your mindset. You're replacing fear with focus. You're building a mental habit that says, I don't fold just because something gets hard. Let me tell you something personal. Every successful person you know, admire, or follow, they all feel doubt. Steve Harvey felt it. Oprah felt it. Every athlete, every entrepreneur, every speaker, artist, or leader you've looked up to, they've all had to face that voice. But the reason they made it isn't because they never felt doubt. It's because they refused to let it shut them down. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to be louder than your fear. You just have to be intentional about what you say to yourself. Start your morning by speaking victory. Walk into a challenge with affirmations in your pocket. Say things like, I've got what it takes. I can figure this out. Or what I don't know, I'm willing to learn. These ain't just feel good phrases. They're mental armor. And don't wait until you feel strong to speak strong. That's backwards. You gotta speak strong so you can feel strong. Power comes in the action. Confidence comes in the doing. The more you talk back to that doubt, the more you weaken its grip. You're not being arrogant. You're being obedient to your purpose. Let me leave you with this. If you had a friend who constantly told you that you weren't good enough, you wouldn't keep them around. So why let that voice in your head keep talking unchecked? You've got goals to chase, people to impact, dreams to build. That voice of doubt, it doesn't get to decide your future. You do. So starting today, every time doubt speaks up, you speak louder. That's the move. That's the trick. That's how you silence it. Not by ignoring it, but by talking back with boldness, with truth, and with the fire of someone who refuses to give up. Doubt is sneaky. It doesn't kick down the door and announce itself. It shows up quiet, calm, even logical. It says things like, maybe this isn't the right time, or you're just being realistic. But let me tell you something that'll change how you see it. Doubt is fear in disguise. That's all it is, fear dressed up in a nice suit, trying to talk you out of your own blessing. See, when you strip doubt down to its core, it's not based on truth, facts, or your actual abilities. It's based on fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. And fear's favorite tactic is to act like it's just trying to protect you. It'll tell you it's looking out for you, keeping you safe from disappointment. But here's what it's really doing. It's keeping you stuck. Doubt doesn't show up when you're doing something easy or comfortable. It shows up the moment you step outside your comfort zone. The moment you start to chase something bigger than where you are, fear starts throwing on different outfits. Sometimes it shows up as procrastination. Sometimes it comes as perfectionism. And sometimes, it walks in looking like logic and calls itself being smart. But if you listen closely, it's all the same message. Don't try, don't grow, don't risk. You've got to recognize the costume. You've got to see doubt for what it really is. A fear that's scared of your potential. It's scared because once you step fully into who you're meant to be, it loses its grip. And let me tell you, fear can't survive where purpose lies. But only if you stop entertaining it like it's giving you good advice. Think about this. How many opportunities have you passed on because doubt whispered, "You're not ready"? How many ideas have you shelved because fear made you believe it wasn't the right time? You weren't lacking talent or potential. You were listening to fear dressed up as common sense. You know what's crazy. We'll believe the voice of doubt without question, but challenge the voice of faith. We'll trust the fear that says you can't, but argue with the hope that says you can. That's backwards. That's like putting your dream on trial and letting fear be the judge, jury, and executioner. Here's the truth. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is just a signal. It means you're stepping into something important. Doubt is just its voice. And once you learn that, you can stop letting it make your decisions. You can feel the fear, hear the doubt, but choose to move forward anyway. Because here's what doubt will never tell you. Every successful person you've ever admired has felt it too. Every single one. The difference is, they knew it was fear in disguise, and they didn't let it win. They acted in spite of it. They walked into the unknown while doubt screamed in their ears, and eventually the doubt got quieter. Not because it disappeared, but because their courage got louder. So the next time you feel that hesitation creeping in, don't just sit with it. Ask yourself, is this really the truth? Or is this fear showing up in disguise? And if it's fear, you already know what to do. Call it out, strip the costume off, and remind yourself that fear don't get a vote in your future. You're not here to play small. You're not here to be held hostage by a voice that doesn't even know your full power. Doubt is fear pretending to protect you, when really, it's trying to prevent you from living fully. Don't let it win, not today, not ever. Every single morning you wake up, you've been given proof that your purpose isn't finished. That breath in your lungs, that's confirmation. That heartbeat, that's evidence. See, if you woke up today, it means God ain't done with you yet. Your story is still being written. There's something you're supposed to do, someone you're supposed to impact, something only you can bring into this world, and that alone should make you sit up and say, "All right, let's get to it." We live in a world that tries to measure your worth by how productive you are, how perfect your life looks, or how fast you succeed. But let me tell you something deeper. Your existence is your assignment. The moment you opened your eyes this morning, you were chosen again, chosen to keep building, chosen to keep learning, chosen to keep becoming the person you were designed to be. But here's where most people get stuck. They confuse delay with denial. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Just because the door hasn't opened doesn't mean the key is lost. Timing is everything. And sometimes the reason you're still here is because your moment hasn't come yet. But it will if you stay in the game. When you understand that your life still has purpose, you stop wasting time comparing yourself to other people. You stop trying to rush the process. You stop talking yourself out of your own dream just because it's taking longer than you thought. Purpose doesn't come with a deadline, and it doesn't need the world's permission to be valid. So the fact that you woke up today, that's your green light. That's your permission slip. That's your reminder that you're still in the race. There are people right now who didn't get that chance. People who had big dreams and good hearts but didn't see another sunrise, and yet you're still here. That means something. It means there's still work to do. Still love to give, still healing to experience, still goals to crush, still lives to touch. Don't waste that. Don't brush that off like it's nothing. You were placed here in this moment with everything you need to take one more step forward. No matter how slow that step feels, it counts, it matters. Sometimes we think purpose has to be this big, dramatic thing, but sometimes purpose looks like showing up for your kids. Sometimes it's starting that business, writing that book, forgiving that person, or even just getting out of bed when life's been trying to knock you down. Purpose shows up in the everyday stuff too. And every time you choose to keep going, despite the fear, despite the doubt, despite the pain, you're living in purpose. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to remember this simple truth. If God gave you breathe today, He's still got a reason for you to be here. That should silence the doubt in your head that says you're not enough. That should shut down the fear that says your time has passed. Because your time is now, right here, right where you are. So take that breath in your lungs and use it with intention. Speak life, move forward, make that call, start that thing, help that person, trust that dream. You don't have to understand the whole path. You just need to believe that the fact you woke up today is the greatest evidence that your journey is not over. And if it's not over, then baby, it's still possible. Imagine trying to drive a car while staring only in the rear view mirror. You wouldn't get far. You'd swerve, crash, or end up completely lost. That's exactly what it's like when you try to move forward in life while constantly looking back at your past. You can't step into your purpose if your eyes are glued to your past mistakes, past pain, or past failures. That's what doubt loves to do. It keeps you looking backward, stuck in what was, so you never reach what could be. Doubt is a master at pulling up old receipts. It'll remind you of every time you failed, every time you got rejected, every time things didn't go your way. It replays those memories like highlight reels, hoping you'll forget everything you've learned and how far you've actually come. But here's the truth. You are not your past. You are not that version of yourself anymore. You've grown, you've evolved, and you've earned the right to stop letting your history hold your future hostage. It's easy to let the past define you when things didn't go as planned. Maybe you tried something and it didn't work out. Maybe you got embarrassed. Maybe someone you trusted let you down, and now every time you try to step into something new, doubt whispers, "Remember what happened last time," and the fear creeps back in. You hesitate, you overthink, you back off, not because you don't want it, but because you're still driving with your eyes in the rear view. But let me tell you something, your past was a classroom, not a prison. You are meant to learn from it, not live in it. Whatever didn't go right before was simply preparing you for what's coming next. It gave you wisdom. It gave you perspective. It gave you strength. The pain wasn't pointless. It was a setup for your growth. But you'll never receive the blessing of what's ahead if you're too busy rereading the chapters you were meant to finish. Think about it like this. No car was ever built to move forward while looking backward. The rear-view mirror is small for a reason. It's meant for occasional glances, not your full attention. What's in front of you is bigger, wider, full of possibility. But you'll only see it when you lift your eyes, shift your focus, and decide that forward is the only direction that matters now. Now, does that mean you forget everything? Of course not. Your past shaped you. It taught you resilience. It taught you what to avoid, who to trust, how to bounce back. You honor the past by using it as a tool, not a chain. The problem is when you let it talk you out of who you're becoming, when you let it convince you that what happened then is the limit of what can happen now. You have to remind yourself daily, I am not who I was. I am who I'm becoming. You're allowed to outgrow your old story. You're allowed to pursue joy after disappointment. You're allowed to start again, wiser this time. Every successful person has a past. What makes them different is they didn't let it be the final chapter. They used it as fuel. So don't let doubt keep you looking over your shoulder. You've got too much ahead of you to stay stuck in what's behind. Your future is not a reflection of your past. It's a reflection of your mindset. Start looking ahead like you expect something good, like you believe the best is yet to come, because the truth is it is. But you'll never get there if you don't stop staring in the rear view. Eyes forward, head high. Let go of what was and walk boldly into what can be. Words have power. The things you say, especially to yourself, shape the way you think, feel, and act. That's why when doubt starts speaking fear into your mind, you have to speak faith louder than fear. You can't just sit there and let fear run wild in your head like it owns the place. No, you take back control by opening your mouth and speaking life, truth, and power over yourself, even when you don't feel it yet. See, fear speaks in what-ifs. What if you fail? What if they laugh at you? What if you're not good enough? And if you let those questions sit too long, they start sounding like facts. But here's the trick. You answer those what-ifs with even louder truths. What if I succeed? What if this is the breakthrough I've been waiting for? What if I'm more capable than I think? That's how you flip the script. Fear thrives in silence. The longer you stay quiet, the louder fear becomes. But when you speak faith, when you say things like, I can handle this, I'm built for this, or I've come too far to quit, fear starts to shrink. It doesn't disappear completely, but it loses its grip. Faith doesn't always remove fear, it overrides it. Let me be clear, this isn't about fake positivity. This is about choosing to speak in alignment with your future, not your fear. It's about feeding your spirit the right fuel, because every word you speak is either planting a seed of growth or a seed of doubt. You've got to choose your words like your life depends on them, because in many ways it does. You ever notice how people who always speak fear usually live limited lives? They're always saying, I can't. It's too hard. It's too late. And sure enough, their life matches their words. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. Because your words set the direction of your life. If you constantly speak defeat, you'll walk in defeat. If you speak fear, you'll live in hesitation. But when you speak faith, even when things look uncertain, you create the mental environment for courage, clarity, and action. Start making declarations over your life even if you don't fully believe them yet. That's how faith works. It starts with a word, not a feeling. You say, I'm strong. Even when you feel weak, you say, I'm enough. Even when your mind tells you otherwise. You say, I will figure it out. Even when you don't have all the answers. Why? Because your words are setting the tone. They're building the atmosphere for change. And eventually your heart will catch up with your mouth. There's power in repetition too. Speak your affirmations daily. Write them down. Say them in the mirror. Say them when you're scared. Say them when you're tired. Because the more you hear yourself speak truth, the less room fear has to sit in your spirit. It becomes your new normal. Let me remind you, faith doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you believe something greater is possible, even when the situation looks the same. And when you speak that faith out loud, you're not just encouraging yourself. You're giving your doubt an eviction notice. You're saying you can talk, but you don't get to drive. So when fear shows up loud, you get louder. Don't whisper your faith. Declare it. Speak it with your chest. Let the world, and more importantly yourself, hear where you stand. Fear may knock at the door, but when you answer with faith, it doesn't get to stay. Speak life, speak vision, speak power. That's how you shift your mindset. That's how you win the battle in your mind. And that's how you silence doubt, by refusing to be quiet about who you are and where you're going. You were made for more. That's not just a feel, good line, or some motivational phrase. It's a fact. Deep down, you know it too. You've felt it in those quiet moments when you daydream about a different life. You've sensed it when you look around and feel like something's missing, even if everything looks fine on the outside. That feeling, that's your purpose calling you higher. It's your soul reminding you that you were not created to settle. See, life has a way of trying to shrink you. It'll box you in with bills, responsibilities, setbacks, and expectations. Before you know it, you start living small, playing it safe, going through the motions. And doubt loves to keep you there. Doubt whispers, this is as good as it gets. It tells you that dreaming bigger is a waste of time, that people like you don't get to live extraordinary lives. But let me tell you, doubt is lying. Because you, my friend, were made for something greater. You weren't born just to wake up, work, pay bills, and die. There is a gift inside you that the world hasn't seen yet. There's a vision you've been carrying in your heart that didn't show up by accident. You were handcrafted for a purpose, designed with intention. That thing you keep thinking about, that dream you keep pushing down because you're scared to try, that's the more you were made for. But here's the catch. Stepping into more will cost you. It'll cost your comfort. It'll cost your excuses. It'll cost your fear. You can't hold on to doubt and purpose at the same time. You have to choose. You have to look in the mirror and decide that you're no longer going to let fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of the unknown dictate your life. You were made to rise, not retreat. You might think, well, I don't have what it takes. Let me stop you right there. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to believe that it's possible. The most powerful shift you can make is from saying, I don't know if I can, to saying, I'm willing to try. Willingness opens the door for growth. And growth is what takes you from where you are to where you were always meant to be. People may have underestimated you. You may have underestimated yourself. But that doesn't change what's true. You are capable. You are gifted. You are enough. The fact that you're still here, still breathing, still waking up each day, that's proof that your purpose is still in motion. You've got more in you, more to give, more to become. And don't let the timeline trip you up. It's never too late to step into your more. Whether you're 18 or 80, as long as you're alive, you've got the right to grow, to change, to stretch, and to shine. People will doubt you. That's fine. Just don't let them be louder than the voice inside that knows what you're capable of. So stand tall. Speak boldly. Walk with confidence. Not because everything is perfect, but because you know you're walking in the direction of your destiny. Doubt will try to pull you back every step of the way, but you can silence it by moving forward anyway. You were made for more than average, more than survival, more than staying small. And once you believe that, truly believe it, there's no force on this earth that can stop you from becoming everything you were born to be. That's the mental trick right there. You speak faith louder than fear. You speak vision louder than insecurity. And you remind yourself every single day that you are not here by accident. You are here on purpose, for a purpose. Now go on and walk like you believe it. Go on and speak like it's already done. And leave that doubt sitting in the dust where it belongs. You got this. Now go claim what's yours.